Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
If the new Chicken Big Mac at McDonald's looks like a Big Mac, has 3 buns and sauce like a Big Mac, but has 2 chicken patties, then it's not a Big Mac.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time. With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to another episode, a brand new episode, dare I say, of Don't Blame Me, starring your 2 favorite people, Meghan and Melisa. Princess Diana can be next, Meghan Markle, Oprah, Keke Palmer, if you're us. Who else do we love? Angela Bassett, who did the thing.
My computer froze and it came back on Diana, and I was like, what are we talking about?
I was saying that it's podcast starring your 2 favorite people, and then I said us, and then I said, also Princess Diana, Meghan Markle, and I was listing all like favorite people, and then I said Angela Bassett did the thing.
Mm-hmm. I was there for that part. I just didn't know what led to any of that.
What does? It's the eternal question. How did we get here? I don't know. Never know. So this is a podcast where we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice that changes your life. And it is a call-in advice podcast, but recently we've opened it up to be a write-in advice podcast as well. So you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. Tell us about your problem, your predicament. And you can also send us an audio message at meganpodcast@gmail.com. And for both of those, you have to keep it under 3 minutes, be 18 or over, have your parents' permission. We do ask that you let us know your age and all relevant details. So the best way to do that is to write everything down and then practice it a few times, make sure it's under 3 minutes, and then read that out loud, either on the voicemail or for the voice memo. But you can also send us a written submission that's under 300 words to the same email address, or you can slide into our DMs. And we ask that you give us all of the relevant information in the sense that, like, imagine you're a totally unbiased third party. You're telling this to someone who doesn't know either party whatsoever, and we want to give you the best advice, and we want to be on your side unless we really can't be on your side. So if you tell us all of the things that make it important, we love when people give I'm gonna give this person is shady, and now I'm gonna follow up with 3 examples. Incredibly helpful,
Yes,
or we have a history. Here are 3 examples of this negative history there. So we always appreciate that. And yeah, I really dived into dove in.
Great.
Dived, dove. I hate tenses. Tenses are so confusing.
Are you tense about tenses?
I'm always tense. We've been over this. I'm a sack of bones being held together by a skin. By skin, not a skin. I guess my skin's attached, so it is a skin.
Yeah. If you think of it in the sense of a phone cover.
Exactly.
And I never thought about them in that sense. Now it makes sense why people call them skins.
Check out the Patreon to see the realization on my face for that, which I never fucking thought of that.
I used to have this flip phone back in the day.
Which kind?
It was before we were really calling things a thing. It was
wasn't
just
chocolate,
a flip
wasn't
phone.
A Crazer.
No, but it was. At my school, I had the first camera flip phone. It was
Ooh.
After we all had the Nokia bricks, and then the flip phone with the camera came out. It was ooh. And then there were skins. And by skins, it wasn't because we didn't need, back in those days, you didn't have to get a case because the phone itself was durable as fuck. And so you could get, if you wanted to make yours, you know, a little different, stand out a little bit, I would get these things they were called skins, but you like, it would be made in like sticker forms of your phone, and then you would transfer it and then rub it in so they stayed forever. And I had pink, of course.
That's really cute. I remember I bedazzled. I had it was a phone that, I think it was the one that flipped both ways. It was a Nokia, I think. Well, I had one that like, I always had like the like after they were cool. So like then when they were like budget and everybody had moved on. So whatever one I had the first, I think it was one of the first. Well, no, I had a pay-as-you-go phone first. And take in mind, everyone, it's not because I'm like, that was the only phone that was available. Like, I think people had iPhones at that point. Like, I just like, that was a choice that was made by the adults in my life. But I so desperately wanted a sidekick because I watched like The OC and all of those shows, like The Simple Life, and they didn't exist at that point. Like, it was like, that was a relic at the time. And so they had this one fucking phone that was like some Nokia one that nobody else had that had like the similar kind of like slidey keypad. And I remember I spent like a week and a half over one summer bedazzling the entire thing, like tiny little rhinestones that I bought. And like I had a pack of like the extras so it would like come off and I would replace them. But like it couldn't, I like was so delicate with it. I'm like, I can't put it in my pocket. Like they're gonna come off. But I was like so obsessed with it. And like thinking back to now, like the fact that I just super glued rhinestones to my actual phone, not a phone case, like I just to my phone, and my phone survived that. I was like, wow, that was really brave and very bold and like a very like 15-year-old, 16-year-old thing to do.
There was a place in the mall where you could drop it off and they would do it for you.
Oh, I love that.
I'm also trying to remember that one phone. I don't think it exists anymore, or it got like sucked into Sprint, and now Sprint has been sucked into T-Mobile. But it was like one of those flippy type phones, but I didn't know anybody that had it. And it had, you could see like your friends you could see their locations, and they would be like in a little car on the move. And everybody was like, why would I want that? And now it's like me and you are like living by.
No, that's the greatest invention ever is find my friends.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody had to have that phone, but no one had that phone, so it didn't even make sense at the time.
Yeah, so it's like it would be an incentive to get the phone. The same thing where it was like, oh, you could talk for free to people who are also at the same like network. And it was like, oh, we should transfer networks.
Yep.
Oh my God. I found a listing on Etsy for my old cell phone. It is $62. Vintage Y2K LG keyboard cell phone. And I'm like, what are you called though?
What is it called?
I don't know. They're just calling it a vintage Y2K phone. It's a Samsung.
Oh.
Or no, LG.
The Expression or the Slide?
No, because the front looks, I think it's LG Cosmos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the other ones existed at the time. But again, this is the budget version.
I think my dad had this one.
Probably way before me.
Nope, probably not. I had, what year was this?
I don't know.
What grade were you in? Do you remember?
Probably, I want to say I got my iPhone either junior or senior year. But people had iPhones from probably like 8th grade or freshman year. People had already had them.
Okay. So I think about the same time when you had the LG phone, I had what was called the Pocket PC.
Is that the one with the little stylus?
Yes. And it was huge. It was big. It was literally computer.
Some TV show had a product placement with that, which is the only reason why I know about it.
It was literally like a Microsoft computer in your hand, not a Palm Pilot. They were more advanced than Palm Pilots. Like it had Microsoft Word on it, and I could like take notes in class on it. Everybody was amazed after I got it. Then like all my friends got it too. It had the stylus, the touch screen wasn't advanced as it is now, where you can literally just touch it with your finger. You had to use the stylus, or it wasn't exact. Yeah, I always had it on silent. I can't do that. But it was a phenomenal phone. Like even now, I think I would prefer it now to an iPhone.
Yeah. I just remember it was some like smart kid in some fucking TV show or movie who had it. And like, God, I remember that. And I was like, look how cool they look. Look at their little style.
Yeah.
God, what a good time. I love that.
I remember when you used to get excited about phones.
I know. Except like I didn't have like unlimited texting for like, I don't think I even got it until like senior year, maybe junior year.
And see, texting wasn't even a thing. Like people were like, why would I text message when I was in high school? It was like,
oh my God, text was like our whole life.
No. Yeah. It wasn't until like later in college, which would be around the same time, where like everybody was like it was like no to texting. Actually, I did have, who was that? Yeah, I did have a friend in high school. I used friend in a loose sense. Someone that I cheered with, and we also had mini classes together. And we were at a nursing home because we had to be there for part of our medical honor society that we were in. And she was texting away on her phone, and I didn't understand who she was texting because nobody else was texting. So I was just like, you're just doing this for show.
Yeah, it's like when I've been on flights before where I like I'm going to the bathroom and I walk by someone and they're just on like the calculator app, just like crunching numbers. And I'm like, you're not even writing it. Like, what are you doing this for? Like, is this like, you don't have to play. It was like the definition of like, are you doing this for someone else who's not seeing behind you to make it look like you're texting? I was like, they were literally just being like, okay, 12 times 2 minus 4 plus 37,000 times 7.2. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? That's probably what she was doing. That's funny.
Yeah, probably. That actually would be right up her alley.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, welcome to us giving you advice. Gird your loins, buckle on in, and prepare yourself to either get us to give you some advice if you're someone who had called or written in, or just to be a voyeur. Be a little perv, be a little creeper.
All right, should we get into our first call?
I think we shall.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'm calling to tell you a kind of bananas story that happened to me 1.5 years ago that basically shows the audacity of men and how sometimes, whilst I love lying for fun, this was a bit weird. And also just like how annoying this man was. So I am 23, they, them, and I went on a work placement at a remote mining village 1.5 years ago with a bunch of other students. And this one person, we'll call John, who also had the same name as my partner, which still throws me off, was just the gripe of my existence while I was there. And I'm happy to talk about this now because I'm over it. But basically, within 2 or 3 days, they got under my skin because I said that my family was from Kazakhstan and please don't make Borat jokes. I hate Borat jokes. And they were like, oh, why? And then another point was like, but one of you made fun of a New Zealand accent. How is that different? Which, if you don't know the history of Borat, it's just a very problematic movie and it's very racist and absolutely not. My work also tried to do this well-being, eating healthy program that was a bit off, and I made some comments about it. And he was like, oh, but it's so easy to lose weight, like I'm at the gym all the time, even though I could lift more than him. And then quoted the first law of thermodynamics to me, even though I studied physics and he was an engineer. So we both know that is not how it works because we both did uni physics. But my favorite audacity was that he said that his family owned majority of a major tourist town in New Zealand. I am talking that there apparently isn't a local council there, that there's not police, they control police, that they own half the businesses, and that he's going to inherit it all one day. I tried to look into this because apparently it's a trust, and I could not find anything in this man's name. And he just kept going deeper and deeper. And I will disclose the town in the email, but I just don't think this is true for several reasons. But it was utterly banana. And I guess what are your thoughts and comments and advice for me 1.5 years ago? Because I was really bothered about this person at the time, and I haven't said everything, but it was just like such an annoyance. I ended up ignoring him most of the times, even though we spent a lot of time together because we were the only students there. But I guess, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? I know you guys been calling out for some more gossip and drama, but I just thought this is such a weird story. This person lied about owning a town in New Zealand. Oh, and this dude was white, by the way. He wasn't married. But thanks. Love the podcast. Bye.
Melissa, I need you to go look at the town. It's the only town I know of. And I go, that is the big, look, what a lie to tell. Why didn't they say that? I kind of want to say what the town is, because I'm just going to, just as a hint for everybody, think of if you are not from New Zealand and you're like, I only know one place in New Zealand, it's that place. Like, what?
I don't understand what the advice is that you're asking. This is a bonkers question.
A post advice of what we would have given you because it pissed you off back then.
My advice would be to do exactly what you did, was just ignore him. There's nothing. Some people just lie for attention. Well, I think most people lie. When you lie, it's for some type of attention. People are lying for attention. You know it's a lie. Don't let him live in your head like rent free. Like, if you're going to do it, at least get some money out of it. There's nothing. I would just say ignore him and move on, and who cares? Like, or if you really want to be petty, look up who actually owns it and say, so what was your family's name? Mm-hmm. And then be like, oh, well, it says here that these people own it.
Yeah.
I think you're still, to this day, still using a little bit too much brain power for this dude that doesn't deserve it.
I understand, though. It would piss me off, too. And, like, I think there's only two options. Like Melissa said, like, you do what you did, which is you just ignore it. Or the other option is, like, so sorry, Michelle Obama. When they go low, catch me underground. Catch me burrowing like a naked mole rat. Catch me creating tunnels down there. Like, go so fucking low. And that's to me of like being like, oh, so like, wait, could you like explain that more to me? Like, oh, like what's the proof of that? Like, oh, that's such like a weird thing to say. I don't know why. Or I would literally just be like, oh, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just like super not interested in that. And like, oh God, that tone of your voice is so sharp. It really grinds my. Can we have like a quiet moment, some quiet time, or like I just can't hear you, or whatever it is. Like just to a point where it's like making someone feel just stupid for that, because like his whole goal is to make you feel less than stupid, impressed by. But anytime someone like specifically really lies about the like power that they or their family holds, or like the wealth that has, or like all of those things, like that is like you're doing that because you're trying to make up for something. So like most of the time it is kind of more like a Saltburn vibe where someone's going to like lie and have their life seem exponentially different than it actually is. So when someone usually lies and says that they're like so wealthy, all of those things, they're not even close. And when someone like lies to say like, oh my God, we're so poor, we're so like destitute, like my life is so hard, that usually is like totally run of the mill kind of family and life, but like you're not getting attention from somewhere else or whatever that is. So like it's usually not even somewhat close to like the reality of it. And so like the older I've gotten, like the more I like note, like I am just like, okay, people who are pathologically lying, usually that's because like the truth is like kind of depressing, and like they just want to lie about what they do, what that is, and all of that. But then at the same time, sometimes men just want to tell you like everything about their like what they own, their like all of that kind of shit. But I do think it's crazy to claim you own what I would think is probably one of the largest. I don't even know it was a town. I assumed that was a city. I assumed that was probably the capital.
Or you can just use it for your entertainment, like they're lying. So you
keep asking for more lore, and like they have to keep making it up on the spot, and like you're like, oh my God, and then what?
I have a friend that they have some pretty wild stories, and I would say half of them are fake and half of them are real, because then I can trace them. And so there'd be hours that we would spend on the phone, and he would just be talking and yakking away. And I was just like, I don't think this part of the story is true at all. But like, lovely to hear everything. Lovely to hear everything that's going on here. Like, it was just entertainment.
Yeah, they got to be good stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me that. That's also part of the reason why people are so, like, Trisha Paytas has gotten so famous. Like, half of Trisha Paytas stories, she'll be like, I don't know if I lied. Like, there's a clip that I just saw of someone was asking about, like, oh, tell me this something story about some celebrity. And she goes, I don't talk about that because, like, I said that story so many times. She goes, I actually don't know if that was true or, like, I just made that up, but I've said it so many times that, like,
it becomes a truth.
Yeah. And so it's just like, she's like, I just, like, don't talk about it anymore because, like, I'm just, like, not sure that actually, like, if that actually was true to begin with. I think I might have made it up and I, like, can't figure out if I did. So, like, I just, like, don't want to touch that again. And, like, that's part of the reason why people enjoy watching and consuming like entertainment content from people is, like, some people lie and those lies make good stories and they're good storytellers. But if you're lying about things that are not exciting and fun, at least lie about being a tour guide, universal, like, at least make it fun.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into the rest.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
And we're back, and it is time for the next submission.
It's a write-in. I am 20 and I use she, her pronouns. I am needing advice about sticking it out in college. I currently am in school full-time and work a corporate job part-time that will turn full-time when I graduate in 2025. The thing is, I'm making good money and I could live comfortably with the amount I make. I am currently in an entry-level position, but another position just opened up. They asked for a college degree or 1-year experience, which I have. If I got this job and worked full-time, I could be living comfortably, especially for someone my age. This company also has unlimited potential, and most positions are based off of experience. I don't know what to do. The main thing holding me back is I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I feel obligated to complete it, as lame as it sounds. I really don't see the point if I can live the life I want without a piece of paper. I'm also like, I could always go back later, but I know that's an excuse if I leave. I doubt I'll go back. I'm currently thinking of applying and just let the cards fall where they may. I know if I were to drop out, it would crush my family, but this is also my life. They live theirs. Hell, they could go to college now if it was that important. What do y'all think? Should I wait it out? There will be more opportunities, or should I snatch up the one in my face? Thanks. Love the pod.
Okay, this is going to be maybe a shocker as someone who did not go to college.
You went for a minimum amount of time, but you went.
I did. And I always said that I could always go back. I don't regret leaving because I had a very bad college experience. And I also was not medicated at that point for ADHD. I wasn't getting any accommodations or any help. So I was really struggling, and it was not getting better. And then I had a very hard time socially. But if I took away all of that, I'm upset that I don't have a college degree. I could technically go back, but when you aren't in that mindset, it's a lot harder. And like you said, you're probably not going to go back. As someone who rushed into the professional world, it's really exciting when you can be the one, the first one of your peers, or you can kind of do that first. But then everyone gets there. Everyone's also going to be there. And then you having got there a year early it's not a huge thing. And you do end up missing out on something else. And for me, it was a need base that I needed to be financially independent. I needed to do this. I couldn't pay for school. It wasn't going to happen for me. But in the circumstance, in the situation, there's a lot of romanticizing about starting your career and having this and building and growing and all of that. You're going to spend your entire life working at jobs, getting fired, getting promotions, getting hired, doing all of this song and dance for it. And while this company right now is saying you just need 1 year of experience or a college degree, that is not what every place is going to be. And you could have all this experience and you could literally have the exact same thing as somebody else. And the only difference between your qualifications, your resume, all that shit is that they have a college degree. Depending on the person who is doing the acceptance, they go, well, we'll just pick that because they have that degree there. So for me, I don't think there's anything you're going to miss out on. Positions will continue to open up. And because you didn't mention anything about the financial aspect of it, if it is not a financial or mental strain, it is not going to be a better choice for that. And I just think back to I think my cousin and my dad are the only people on my dad's side of the family who went to college. And I do kind of hate that I was able to break the teen parent curse of literally ever on that entire side of my family, but I didn't with the college thing. So now my cousin's kids, that's going to be the ones who have to keep that on. And my brother went to college and his kids went to college, but for my side of it, I didn't. And so there's something that I can't even imagine the small bit of guilt that I feel, even knowing that I couldn't have finished, I wouldn't have been able to pay for it, I wouldn't have graduated. It would have been sacrificing my mental health, and I also still was not academically going to be able to make it. I do wish that my circumstances were different and I could have continued on and gotten a college degree, because knowing how hard it was and how much my ancestors and my grandparents and all of that kind of stuff from that side, it was not even an opportunity. It was not even a possibility. And I didn't have to join the army to pay for school or do any of those kinds of things. So I just think that it might not seem that important to you now, but I just think that it will feel important to you later. And if it was a waste of time, it's a year that's a waste. It's not going to change the trajectory of your professional career.
Yeah. You have a job. Once you graduate, that same job is going to be there, and money may look good now and it may be exciting now. It's 1 more year isn't going to make things worse. Like Megan was saying, unless you plan on only working for this company the rest of your life, it's not going to be a positive in the long term unless this is the only job you ever want. You said that there's a lot of growth opportunities. That means that there are a lot of job opportunities always available. It's still going to be there when you finish. Enjoy. I just want to like really say this. Enjoy this time where if finances are not an issue right now, like enjoy this time of like being in school, furthering your education, but having fun without the pressure of like paying bills, like in a way that it's like that's you work to pay bills. Like enjoy this, like enjoy school, enjoy your friends, enjoy like going out without any like real responsibilities yet. You don't have to grow up like so fast. If it's not a necessity, then don't do it. Don't do it. There's some like I had the opportunity to graduate early. I was basically done. And I was just like, but why? Well, first of all, I didn't know. I no longer wanted to go to dental school, and I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted to do.
I need to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
I need to bide my time.
But also, it was just like why? I don't have to. Like, I'm fine. I was going through a little depression, but as a whole, I would have been more depressed if I was out working a job. Not where I had the cushion of like, I can go to class, I can have fun on the weekends, but like the reason I was depressed is because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I had that time to figure it out. You know what you want to do. What do you actually like want to do this like because you would enjoy this job, or is it just like the immediate money that you can get from it?
Yeah.
Just you have a year. Like this time next year, if you're walking in the spring, like this time next year, you'll be done. It's not, and you still got the summer. Like maybe you can work full time during the summertime and then go back to part time, but like you're almost done. Just finish it.
Yeah. Like what a colossal waste of time and money to just not finish it. And like you're so close. And like people used to say that to me, and I was like, bitch, I am not close at all. I don't even have a full year worth of credits. Like I have been scamming this fucking system. Like I haven't taken any of my prereqs. Like there's no shot. My trajectory, I'll graduate in 10 years. Like there's just, it's not that. But like this is probably the only time in your life you're ever going to even work part-time. Like that is the graduating from part-time to full-time, like is a lot. And I tell Mats this all the time because he's a rusher. He's always trying to like rush into things. And I'm like, what are you running towards? Because this is forever. Like this is just going to be the rest of your life. And like if you are, what is the finish line you're trying to get to? Because getting there earlier doesn't make a difference because you're just going to be there. And then everybody else is going to be there. And then you're just still there. So like there's something to be said about, I think college is a lot of times, in point blank, way too fucking expensive and like way too hard of like an entry point for so many things, but you've gotten this far for it. And the guilt that you would feel that you're saying, like, I feel like I would feel really guilty. Listen to that because it's such a huge privilege that not everybody gets to have. And yeah, like I'm so like acutely aware of that because the only reason why I was even like, I didn't get into a great school. The only good schools I got waitlisted for were audition based ones, but like was because my dad chose to move to a certain area that had good public schools. So I could do that there because he was the first one in his family to ever have gone to college and had to do that through joining the Air Force and then faking a psychotic break so he could get out of the Air Force. And to have
the only one.
Yeah, to pay for his school. And so that was like, it changes the course of not just your life. It'll change the course of like, if you choose to have kids in life, if you choose to mentor other people's, if you just choose like whatever you decide, I think you already have made this decision 3 years ago. And this is the time to stick it out. Not everybody needs college. College, I don't think should be a barrier to entry for all of those things. But I think this would be the worst choice because you put the time, energy, and all that stuff into it, and then you don't actually get the end outcome or benefit or result from that. And so I think it's too late to switch, like, I don't need college. Then I would have said, go to a trade and do all of these other things and like start a job where you don't need the college. But I just think that you would be doing a disservice to not just your family, but I think like you in a couple years would be like, what? Why did I do that?
Yep.
Look at me defending college.
I had a feeling where you would be.
Yeah. I think college as a whole is like a really conceptual, like great thing. I just think that I'm envious I didn't have that circumstance or situation, but yeah, the barrier to entry, like it's hard. Yeah. And if you're lucky enough to get to be there, I think you should like really don't take that for granted.
Yep. All right, next one.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'm a 26-year-old male who uses he, him pronouns. I'm calling for advice this time in regard to something that I've had on my mind for a little while now, and I think you guys will be honest with me about this. It's been almost a year since I graduated with my bachelor's degree, and I'm still looking for jobs that make use of my communications degree. I've been applying and have either been ghosted or received the standard pre-written, we went in another direction response. Since graduating, I've started to fill the time I would spend at school doing more fun and relaxing things, such as reading more books for pleasure rather than class, playing video games, etc. I've also caught up on a bunch of shows and movies that have been on my watch list. During the strike, I watched a lot of good shows and movies that contained performances that made strong impacts on me. The way that actors portray stories and characters that parallel my life have especially given me that feeling in your gut that you just can't quite describe. As of late, I've noticed myself being more interested in the idea that maybe I could portray these characters. And while I can honestly say I've never seriously thought about this before, but the possibility that I could be an actor. I think the creative side of me has been subconsciously ignored for so long. I've always been taught that education and financial stability are important, and with my parents putting me through college, God bless them, especially longer than expected, I felt that I had to be focused on just one thing, getting through college. I thought about quitting many times, but I'm glad I did it no matter how long it took. Now, I don't want to just quit my job and hope to be on TV the next day, but I feel like if I give it an honest try, what can I lose? Like a hobby, something that I would pursue in my off time. I've always dreamed about being that person on the screen, being in that scenario, or putting myself in the shoes of my favorite character, but immediately pushed that thought away and put my focus back on reality. I think my problem is I've always told myself that I need to think practically and never really looked into it. Where should I even begin? Is it even possible or practical for me to do my own headshots and demo reels to start, and maybe have professionals do them later on? Where should I even source lines for a self-tape? I've looked into trying acting classes near me to see if I'm any good, and I've done some research into what entails the different processes of auditioning, how-to websites, and I've even browsed Backstage, but I'm not even sure if that's a legit website. It's definitely overwhelming, but I can't seem to take my mind off the idea, and I honestly just want to jump in and see where I might land. I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I don't have school or a serious job holding me down. Part of me also feels like I'm looking for my purpose in life, and maybe I'm blindly thinking it might just be in this. The idea of being the person who others may see themselves in on screen the way I have is really intriguing and inspiring to me right now. Am I delusional? As two people in and around that industry, what are your thoughts? Do you have any advice or places to start? Should I jump in and see what comes, or do I need to start seeing a therapist? Thank you.
Both.
Yeah, and as two people who have predicted your film career, we said it. Right. We called it.
We have talked to this person before, and we have given them, and we have told them that we could see them in the entertainment field.
We profiled.
Yes. You have a great voice. I could even, you could do, audiobooks.
Yep.
You could do voiceover work. But I think the starting point does need to be going to acting class. I don't want you to waste money on things that you, if you're seeing this as, another hobby, paying for Backstage or things like that. Get into an acting class so that you understand there's a lot that goes into acting that's not just, showing up on screen and saying some lines. So, understanding different techniques, different methods, even, what a slate is. Those are, basic things that, going to an acting class will help. But I'll let Megan take this away because she is our resident actor. I am retired from the field.
Well, so I've got two different things that I think you should do simultaneously. I don't think you should just upheave your life and throw everything into this because there's no job security. So regardless, you have to have another job. You have to have another job because it is very rare. The vast majority of union SAG actors don't meet the minimum requirement for even health insurance. You can't, it's not your full-time gig because it's an eternal auditioning gig. And even people who you recognize during the strike had to pick up money somewhere else because they can't live their life just based on those singular paychecks alone usually. So the thing I would say is like, I think it needs to be twofold. I so agree that acting class is great. I think that the choice that I would make for you is like, I would go to like something that might be a cheaper entry point depending on your location. Like look into community theater, like look into something like that where it's just a performance based thing to see if you like performing, because this might sound so backwards, but performing on like a stage live audience wise is universally pretty regarded as not, it is maybe like harder, higher expectations, higher standards, and all of those kinds of things. But you do feel less exposed than you do acting on film, because acting on film is very close. Everyone is very close to you. You can see other people's eyes. Like it's not just, you can't shut it all out and you're just in your bed, like, and you can envision whatever. Like that's the difference of that there. And then I would say like get a PA job working on a set to see if you even enjoy that. Like look or see if there's any student films going on near you, and like you could definitely audition for them. But there is, again, I don't know the specific location that you're in. So if you feel like, oh, I don't know how this works, I don't know how this goes or whatever, like there are so many things you can like read on Reddit and all of that. But I do think that you feel very exposed like as an actor, and like some people are just not there's not a lot of when you get to a certain level you can be handled with like kid gloves, but for like a lot of it like you're treated like not a real person. And if you're just starting out, it can be really, you can feel silly and you can feel stupid and you can feel like, oh, I don't know what this is, and like I don't want to let people down. And so depending on the kind of personality you are, if you're like cool with that and like faking it till you make it and auditioning for like student films and then knowing that some of the tapes might be like hella fucking bad or whatever, or like reaching out to like student film productions and stuff and like asking if they need like a PA or if they need something else, and so you can just kind of be around it to see what that's like. And loving watching like the finish, enjoying like what the finished product of a movie and how people see themselves in the characters and all of that, that is only partially due to like the actor and the performance. It's also a huge thing due to the writing. And so I think like if you love stories, I would also like really encourage you to write, even if you don't do anything with it, but writing things and then like reading them out loud or performing them. Like I was very into poetry from like a very young age, and then like writing different poems from different perspectives, which as I got older, I was like, oh, those are characters. So doing that kind of a thing can give you a taste of the whole industry. And I recommend to everybody who wants to get into the industry is you can't just pick unless you want to work crew. And even then a lot of people will have bounced around between a couple before they like land on the specific department that they like. You can't just do one thing because it's a big waiting game, and it's so much better to well round yourself from being like you're someone who understands how production works, but you're also someone who is interested in the post-production. You might be someone who's interested in editing or whatever that is, and you can learn so much. And it's, again, this is something that for even people, their face, their name, it's still a hobby that pays, and sometimes a hobby that doesn't pay. And
a lot of the time it's a hobby that doesn't pay.
Yeah. And it needs to be treated like that. And so I think because you like are from like recent of the college era and time, you can notice a lot of people who like are live, breathe, die, film school, all of that kind of stuff. That is a luxury that like most people don't have. Like most of the actors you'll see, like everyday working actors, like not all of them went to school. Not all of them like had the ability to be like, this is the only thing I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on this training like this. Like a lot of the time it's like you pick up classes here and there, you read books here and there, you do all of those kinds of things. But I think like any sort of acting class, any sort of like whatever, like is a wonderful life skill for anyone, regardless of what profession you go into. I know people will always like recommend improv. I am not an improv person, but you can still be into acting and like acting and be a good actor and not be interested in the format of improv classes. Like you can find something that makes you excited and interested, and it also doesn't have to be your career. It can scratch the itch that way, like just whatever you're doing in that sense. But I, without a doubt, see this world for you, whether it's acting or whether it's something in that. And there are lots of actors. There's lots of people who work in production who started off as actors and then they liked another department more. I have a lot of friends who are actors who are I just want to direct, but I'm going to build up to that point. It's also an industry that is very welcome with sidestepping and stepping back in front and doing all of those things. So I think any way you can kind of get into it and not wanting it to be perfect or needing it to be perfect or needing to be prepared enough, never going to be prepared enough. It's a constant imposter syndrome sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, my latest headshots I took myself, you can do that without a doubt. And having a reel, yeah, you can literally pull monologues from plays, movies, can print them out, memorize them, and do them. And then as you continue, as you get cast in things or you do other things or you make a short film with friends or do whatever, though your reel changes and that content and what's in it changes as it goes on. But everybody starts with no projects and no professional headshots. It's a building up that thing. So I always advise anybody, don't put money into things that are changing, which again, are the headshots and the reel and all of that stuff. So if you're putting money into that, people probably won't even really see that for a while. And then you're going to need to put money into it at that point. So there's places where you can save money from that. But I think the classes and immersing yourself in it is a really great call. And it's yeah, if you love it, you love it. And some people, it's a very tumultuous relationship. And so it's not for everybody. But I think if you have the calling to that, the second you step on a set, you'll know. It's just oh, this is it. This is what,
yeah.
My face would hurt. After the first time, I don't even know what but my face would hurt because I was just smiling so big. It is just, you'll know. And at that point, my condolences. Then well, hop on the ride. But hopefully that's a comfort to you, because if you don't have that feeling, then you know that this can be a fun hobby. And what else would you like to do? And who else would you like to shadow? What other things to see where that spot clicks? If it's not that, you'll just know. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah. And just to go on the thing about working, I have a friend who he works pretty regularly. Every month he's pretty much in something, but he still has a full-time job that he does. And luckily he's able to take off from that job. But even somebody that's working pretty regularly still needs to have a job.
Mm-hmm. Or a rich family. That's the only time. Even celebrities have other ventures. And that's a lot of the time it's survival, not just let me hoard my wealth.
Yeah. When I saw Sarah Jessica Parker hawking a mobile game,
yeah,
I was like,
I saw Pedro Pascal hawking a game that I play.
Yes. I think it was the same one that Sarah Jessica Parker
I don't doubt
doing. Everybody has a different, so many celebrities have a hair company or
mm-hmm.
just random things. So yeah, you're always still working on other things. So best of luck and keep us updated.
And the last thing I'll end on is just, we told you so. That's it.
We told you.
We told you. We told you.
We're going to take a break.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks,
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to See You Next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
And we are back.
All right, next one.
I, 27, work in casting. First of all, cast me. And a few months ago, worked on a film. The director was 20 years older than I am. Let's call him Michael. After the last day of auditions, he DM'd me on IG asking me to coffee. I hate this already. It bridged flirty and professional tonally, so I don't know what to make of it. I responded politely, saying that it was nice to work with him too. At our creative team meeting the next day, Michael started sending me DMs on Zoom, very friendly, but he didn't realize that I was using my boss's Zoom account. So we both received these messages in real time. Once the call ended, I came clean. My boss freaked out about how inappropriate it was and how Michael was really using his power to make me uncomfortable. Except I wasn't uncomfortable. The way I want to jump through the screen and smack you across the fucking face. Except I wasn't uncomfortable. I was pretty into it. I liked the idea of having a fling with this random old guy who lived in another state. I'm usually extremely cautious, but I'm feeling swept up in the prospect of living recklessly for once. My boss wouldn't drop it, wanting to get our lawyer involved and for there to be some sort of legitimate repercussions. I begged her to let it go. She stopped pursuing it, but still gets very angry when the subject comes up. She is the only one who brings it up. Now I'm traveling to the state where the project is premiering, and Michael DM'd me asking for the details of my trip. I want to tell him, and I don't think I have to disclose anything professionally since the project is over. But this is a work trip for me. Help me out. I don't know how my boss would react if she found out we met up. Do you like your job?
Yes. Everything that he did was unprofessional. You said when casting was over, he DM'd me. You still had a meeting the next day. Like the very next day, you had a creative meeting. So yes, casting was done, but you were still part of the creative process. Now you're going to the premiere, which is a work trip. You are still tied to this man in a professional manner. And your boss is correct. Your boss is trying to protect you, and you don't see that. It would be one thing. First of all, he's way too damn old for you. But it would be one thing, like if the project was completely over and then he messaged you. But like all this is still work related. And it's unprofessional. And he was messaging you during a work meeting, being flirty. And your boss saw that. Your boss, again, is trying to protect you, and you're not seeing that. If he was a professional, like he's claiming, like you're trying to like rationalize this. If he was a professional, he would have waited until everything pertaining to this was over. But he didn't. He was distracting you while you were in a meeting. He messaged you right after casting was over. This is not right. And your boss is trying to save you, and you don't want to be saved. But yeah. I hope that what we're telling you, I know Megan's going to hit it after I'm done, but I hope with what we're telling you, like you can understand that everything that's happening here is very unprofessional. And if you want to keep your job, then you have to stop this.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Your boss is not only trying to protect you, but protect other people that this guy works with. And this is also, your boss has a professional relationship with this director. And so knowing that you are engaging with him, then this director, your boss then has to be like, okay, do I cut off a relationship with this director and then cut off a relationship with my employee? Is this going to be the end of this because I'm not comfortable knowing what he's done, because that also then, cool. So now I know that there's been an inappropriate relationship, but my employee says that it's fine. And then I'm supposed to say, okay, I don't think it's okay. Based on all of the sexual harassment handbooks, it's not okay. Then if you decide later on that you're actually not okay with this, your boss is then in fucking trouble because they have said, okay, whatever, passing along on whatever. I'm just not going to do anything about it there. So like your boss knowing this, it is a liability for them as well. If he also does something inappropriate to someone else at work who is not okay with it, and your boss has known that he has a history of doing this, and then let him be in situations with other people who didn't react the same way that you did. This is so beyond unprofessional. You should be upset at him because this puts your job in a very bad fucking position. And if you're going to give up your job, and I will also add your reputation for this man, for what? Like, and for what? A guy who does this to people who he works with for small contracts of time does that to everybody he works with for small contracts of time. And what do you want to get out of that? Because the repercussions are not good. And unfortunately, the status and reputation of a director will hold so much more than someone who works in casting. And if this doesn't go the way that he wants, he's not going to work with you or your casting office again, and then tells other people not to work with you or your the power that he holds for your reputation while you're protecting his reputation and your I don't think you've done anything morally wrong. I think this is poor judgment, but I don't think that like you've crossed a line yet. I think if you go see him on your work trip, that is a like crossing a line, and it's grounds for being fired.
Yep.
But right now you're holding the power of this guy did something inappropriate, and on the plus side, thankfully, you didn't feel that way about it at this current moment. And that's a great thing. That's great that you did not feel uncomfortable. You didn't feel any of that kind of a thing. That should be a red flag for you, though, that like, okay, my boss is not cool with this and this is like inappropriate. I should check why I was okay with this first. But if you continue pursuing this, you then take away the agency and the power that you have right now, that like of what he has done. And instead, he then has your reputation in his hands to do with it whatever he chooses to, whatever he wants to, whatever he will. And I think if you are enticed by this at this like age, and I don't know how long you've been working in this, like this might be like, I need to be in therapy and I might need to take a break from the industry of this, because there's so much exploitation and power dynamics of older men who work in the industry and young people, regardless of gender orientation. There's so much of that you need to have such a strong head on your shoulders and like head on a fucking swivel to notice what are signs of something being X, Y, and Z. What are things leading to this, this, and this? And knowing that like when you are cool with, and I've had something I've had to learn, like my friends and I like on sets like we would make dirty jokes with each other. And we've had to have like talks of like, you guys can't do that. I know you're comfortable and you guys are close friends. You can do that on your off time. You cannot do that here, because other people can then see that and then take that to another set with people who are not you, who don't feel comfortable with that, knowing that how you carry yourself and your behavior sets like standards and expectations for everyone else and everything else. And you are not responsible for his bad behavior or his unprofessionalism, but you are now getting the choice to be like, are you going to take his unprofessionalism and decide to be unprofessional as well? Like, who do you want to be in the industry? Mm-hmm. And this to me, I'm like, this is giving like camp goggles, desert island dick, like where it's like, okay, hop on a dating app. Like this is not what this is. And like, if you're feeling like picked and like, this is kind of illicit and hot. No, like that is something to do on your off time with like hooking up with someone who went to your rival high school or whatever, something that has nothing to do with your professional life, when your reputation is everything. Like that's how you maintain a job in this industry. And I don't think your boss your boss is willing to go out on a limb your boss is willing to like go after this guy and like he should face repercussions so he cannot do this, because assuming he definitely does this to lots of people in lots of different casting offices. And that is not a luxury, unfortunately, a lot of people will do, that a lot of people will not stick their neck out for that kind of stuff. But your boss will protect their ass. If you participate in this, they're not going to open themselves up to that possible repercussions. And also, like, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Go fuck a celebrity if you want to do that. Go fuck someone from a reality show. Go fuck someone famous. All of that. But like, fucking some old dude who's like, is this Martin Scorsese? Like, what are you getting out of this?
He wouldn't.
I know, but I'm saying like
his daughter would beat you up.
Oh my God, Francesca would come out here with she would be smacking you upside the head, and I would say, "Go, Francesca!" Like, so that's the thing, that it's like, if you want to fuck old men, what are you getting out of it? And like, look up Randall Emmett. This feels like a Randall Emmett situation. Like, you can have fun and sexy things like in the industry. Like, I've hooked up with people who like I worked on a crew with when the thing's wrapped or whatever. Like, I've had those dates and flirtations with people. Like, it's
you're flirty on set and then legitimately wait until it's over.
Yeah, and never ever someone who is that much older than you and has power and control over the future of your career.
Right.
Because you could do absolutely nothing and they could decide, I don't want to see that person's face again. Make sure they don't get cast in anything ever. And it's like,
make sure they're not doing the casting for anything.
Yeah. But as I'm saying, like, make sure that this person is like not on my radar whatsoever. Like, this is not, and then the director, unfortunately, again, will always be more important. So I just think that like there is better, less messy dick that doesn't jeopardize your job, and you need higher standards.
Yep.
And I think you need a hobby. Like, I think you've got work goggles on. Like, are you on location? Like, you've got options. Like, get out of this.
Now it's time for Don't Blame Them.
And Don't Blame Them is where a listener will call in or write in with their own advice pertaining to a call or write-in that we had aired on a previous episode that they might have personal experience with, professional experience with. They just had some additional insight that we didn't cover, but more advice, more voices, more people, and they'll hopefully help you out.
All right, so we have a write-in. It's from last week's episode. Roommate gets it in with the door open. Hi, Eminem. I'm writing in for Don't Blame Them for episode Roommate Gets It In with the Door Open. Yes, for that one. I had a friend, let's call her Jenna. We were roommates for a year and she wouldn't leave the door open, but the noises she made, higher than max. When I told her how much it bothered me, she said, "Okay, but you're gay." Bitch, I don't want to hear that shit. Also, you're a terrible actor. Oh my God. Here's one thing I did that got her to stop. I called her mother. Not only did I call her mother, but I called poor Barbara, not her real name, while Jenna was getting it on. She has then stopped, and after our lease was up, we moved out separately and we are no longer friends. Found out she was an anti-vaxxer. So there's one option. Otherwise, maybe just be a giant cock blocker and start smashing pans together and saying, "I ain't got no sleep because of y'all." Or throw a bucket of water on them. Something that'll get them to stop. Be petty. Always best of luck. Also, she definitely owes you money for therapy you'll be needing for this. Sorry.
Barbara. Oh, Babs.
Poor Barbara, too.
Poor Babs. Babs going, girl, if you do not... The idea that being like, you're gay. So, what? Wait, so, because I would say that, like, it's not even true. But the logic there, it's like, yeah, I don't want to hear you have sex. Why would that make me be like, oh, then I'm fine hearing you have sex? You know what I mean? Like, what's the fucking difference there? It's like, is she thinking if this is like, oh, no, you're gay, so you like hearing people have sex? Or
I don't understand anything about that.
No.
That makes no sense.
Or you're gay, so it's like, well, I'm having heterosexual sex, so therefore it shouldn't bother. Like, I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy. I like love that petty part of it. I think we need to be considerate as roommates about the sucking and fucking.
I'm trying to find the one that was DM too.
Oh, okay. I think I have it now. Hey, I just finished listening to this week's episode of Don't Blame Me and wanted to share a funny story related to the roommate sex call. When I lived in a dorm with paper-thin walls, I could hear my neighbor moaning every time with her consistent hookup. One day I was at a party and we were drinking. When I saw him, I walked up to him and told him, hey, can you give Tara a pillow next time? I can hear y'all fucking like I'm right next to you because, well, I am, and she's loud. I just remember him being like, oh shit, sorry. My friend group thought it was hysterical when I recapped it the next day. That is very fucking funny. Like, that's hilarious. I remember being in like college and hooking up with this guy who's older. I think he was a junior or a senior when I was a freshman, and he like lived in like the frat house. And I remember I was like so excited to like, meet some of the guys. Like, oh yeah, I've heard you, and I was like, and I'm going to kill myself now. So thank you for. Now I've been mortified, just mortified, and I was like, oh, cool. So I do think it's college is where we learn those things, and then once you leave college or you reach the age past college age, that's when we stop. There's a time and a place to be an inconsiderate, horny piece of shit, and there's a time limit. There's an expiration date, and without a doubt, it should happen at least, I think, a couple years before your prefrontal cortex is fully developed. But certainly, that is the final fucking cutoff.
All right. Well, what an interesting episode.
What an interesting episode. I enjoyed it. Thank you all for writing in and submitting. Please send us more for our next episodes. We love to hear it. And we love being right about things. You can tell us if we were right. You can give us an update. And join our Patreon. We also have more podcasts besides just this one. Tomorrow you can hear See You Next Tuesday, where we catch up. We chit-chat. We discuss. We have a fun time. And that's actually all you're going to be getting this week, because
you'll get a classic episode of But Am I Wrong?
Do a replay. Yeah. We said at the beginning of this episode, we say it and See You Next Tuesday.
We say it and See You Next Tuesday, but
okay. So if you listen to See You Next Tuesday, you'll understand why that's what you're getting this week. But you can join our Patreon, watch the video versions of the podcast. You can go back and watch the old like videos of the podcast for previous episodes. If you're like, oh damn, I really want to see their face about the bridesmaid or the bride who peed on the maid of honor. That's a classic one. Go watch that video. It's a great time. And we also do live streams twice a month where we hang out. There are some Swedes. We've got an Irish girl joining. Very excited. And we also trade Monopoly cards. We have a whole group chat about Monopoly Go. And it's very fun.
I have a great time.
Me too.
I work out during it.
Yeah, and she gets encouragement where everyone's like, damn, look at that. And yeah, it's great. There's new people all the time too. So if you're worried about being like new or joining, you can always watch a couple first to kind of like get a vibe check. But we always have like new people. So you're never going to be like the only one. Everyone's very friendly and very nice. Unless you cross us.
Nice. It's pushing it a little bit.
Kind.
Friendly.
Not nice.
Nice.
No,
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Someone on TikTok is being like, I met Renee Rapp, and like she wouldn't take a picture with me, and like she was like so mean. And Mott's was like, Tim, how do you feel about this? And I was like, she never said she was nice. And like,
no,
I didn't. Okay, like
I don't clock her as being a nice person.
No, and I also don't think
what was the circumstances of you wanting
VIP
to take the picture
at
with
Coachella her? At a bar? And I go, you don't take pictures in VIP at Coachella. That's like not a thing, like at all. No. Point blank.
No.
And
have some decorum. Know where you are.
Yeah.
Act like you've been there before.
And they had been there before. But it was just funny to me because everyone's like, oh my God, this is like so disappointing. And I was like, I don't even think Renee would be like, oh shit, I've been clocked. Because like, if that's like when people to me, they're like, Megan, what you used to preach about kindness and positivity. I go, you are mistaking me for somebody else. Like, this is no. And yeah, this is what I say. I love Capricorn women. And some people just don't, they're unfamiliar. And we all deserve them in our lives.
All right. Well, we will talk to you tomorrow.
Bye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Subscribe to the Ghost Story Guys now on your favorite podcatcher to hear episodes like High Strangeness in Chicago, The Mystery of Missing Time, and The Haunting of Vietnam, along with dozens of others.
We've talked about mythical bridges, doppelgangers, haunted seaside towns, and so much more.
Remember that story about the guy who was trapped inside a dream and something was hunting him? That was upsetting.
Yes it was.
Want us to help ruin your sleep? Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.